roster moves, and the Cowboys are in the middle of a practice, getting ready to pack for Minnesota, and some roster moves and some changes that hope benefit them, not just in the short term against the Vikings, but maybe in the long term too. Mike Fisher reporting from the Star in Frisco. Did I already say that? Where we like to headquarter ourselves. So midweek, Cowboys in the middle of 4 roster moves. Let's walk you through those, and then let's examine whether or not they're going to have any impact. Roster move number 1, Andy Dalton being activated today from the reserve COVID-19 list. Now, this has been an unfortunate, it's 3 weeks now for Dalton, who signed on here knowing that if Dak Prescott ever went down, God forbid, thanks God, that Andy Dalton would take over as quarterback, and that was going to work out just fine until an awful game in his debut, awful on everybody's part, and then knocked out of that game in a nasty and illegal way by Bostic in Washington. That caused him to be in concussion protocol. That cost him a week. And then comes the COVID thing, and that cost him a week. And then comes the bye week, and he's just now getting clear and ready to go. So the official transaction will happen today. Andy Dalton will come off the COVID list. And although Mike McCarthy's trying to play this close to the vest, it's quite clear that Andy Dalton will be the starting quarterback for Dallas at Minnesota. You can debate if you want to that Garrett Gilbert deserves this or played well there or whatever, but Andy Dalton, there's just no logical argument here that Andy Dalton's not the superior quarterback. I can make an argument to say that Ben DiNucci needs to get a start somewhere, especially if you're ready to slide down the organic tanking trail. But if you're still trying to win, and this organization is, they look at the standings and say, why would we give up wins now? There's plenty of time later to give up wins, as the Cowboys are right now poised to be a top 5 picker in the NFL draft, but at the same time, poised to win the division, maybe, because nobody else seems capable of it. So Andy Dalton's back. Number 2, defensive lineman Tyrone Crawford, also coming off the COVID list today. How impactful will that be? I don't think, coming off the 2 hip surgeries, that Tyrone Crawford would tell you that he's really pleased with his performance this year. I think his status as a tweener of sorts, position flex, was really helpful for him in the previous system. I don't know that it's working now. I don't know that he's big enough to do what they ask him over here or quick enough to do what they ask him over there. He did have the special teams work against Pittsburgh. That was impressive. And Tyrone Crawford's a guy you root for. So he comes back, and we'll see what happens with him and whether or not he can help the Cowboys short term, because I don't think the help is long term with him. Transaction number 3. And this is one that you saw coming, but that doesn't make you happy about it. Trevon Diggs, the cornerback, will be placed on injured reserve today. The result of that foot injury that was sustained in Dallas's last game, the home loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm sure this could be a 3-week IR. That's the way it can work. Although our understanding is that the rookie could have a 6-week wait, a 6-week rehab. 4 to 6 was the original word. Some of these guys are quick healers, and if you're Diggs, you want to play. You're in the middle of demonstrating something here. Some ups and some downs, but the ups have been spectacular, and the forecast for Diggs as a future Cowboy standout is very, very promising, I think. I bet you do too. And so you can imagine why he wants to get on the field. But the training staff isn't going to let him go on there with a broken bone in his foot or a partially healed bone in his foot. So IR for Diggs, and then we wait. Could miss the rest of what has been a really good debut season. What's the offshoot of all this? Chido Awuzie coming back. So the timing's just right to get Chido back. You plug him in at the starting corner. Anthony Brown's over here. Jordan Lewis available to help. And then next to Xavier Woods, you keep playing mix and match with the safeties. As we've addressed here before, I think it's really important to think about with what the Cowboys do at cornerback. Awuzie is in the final year of his contract. Xavier is in the final year of his contract, the safety. Jordan Lewis in the final year of his contract. And there's not much logic in saying, let's pay big piles of money to bring those 3 guys back. So this could be a secondary in transition. Cheeto's playing for the money now, and as well he should. Good for him. And the Cowboys are planning on Diggs being long-term, so no risk worth taking there. And then what I guess is a mild surprise, I didn't know this one was coming, but here we are, and I'm glad it's coming for Cowboys Nation. This might be the most important move in terms of it being both a mild surprise and potentially impactful to the team's performance now and going forward. Offensive tackle Brandon Knight, who underwent arthroscopic knee surgery early on and has been on IR, is now eligible to come off, and they are having him begin his 21-day practice window today. So the Cowboys think that there's promise here soon with Brandon Knight. That doesn't mean this week, I don't think. We will monitor how much work he exactly does. But if he's working on the field, then he could come back sometime within the 21-day window and get back on not just the practice field, but on the game field too. And I'll take you back. The Cowboys and this new coaching staff, Mike McCarthy and company, began this year viewing other young offensive linemen as being superior to the undrafted second-year guy Knight. The previous coaching staff, including Mark Colombo, held him in really high regard. Mark Colombo thought Brandon Knight, I think Mark Colombo saw Brandon Knight in himself. This is a tough, smart guy who will fight you. Sometimes in a little literal sense for Colombo, and maybe with Brandon Knight too. This tough guy. Athletic enough, but a tough guy. I don't think the new coaching staff saw it that way at all. They decided that Terrence Steele was kind of going to be their pet, and so Brandon Knight kind of got left in the dust. Well, here's his second chance with this same coaching staff to come back and show him what he's got. And maybe he's the future swing tackle here. That would be a dream come true. Maybe Terrence Steele is. Maybe they both have a future in the NFL. Maybe as you mix and match at safety, as we mentioned earlier, why not mix and match a little bit going forward in the offensive line and see what you've got? Not only in Steele, who's been given 3 months to show what he has and does not have, the undrafted rookie out of Texas Tech. But now let this coaching staff see what Brandon Knight has in a game. And I don't know if I think that's coming, but I do, for the sake of Cowboy Nation, hope it's coming. You go through these 4 deals. By the way, there's another one pending, what they're going to do at center, but they haven't made a determination there yet. Whether Biadasz will be able to work fully this week, we'll monitor that, versus having Joe Looney at center. We'll see how that goes, and we'll keep you posted. But I don't have any news on that one today. These are the 4 that we have news on today. I think it's pretty obvious what Andy Dalton's role is going to be. Maybe it's obvious what Tyrone Crawford's role won't be, and that is to say that while Dalton's an every snap guy, maybe Tyrone Crawford is fading a little bit, and maybe being phased out in terms of the future. We'll again, the best way to see is snaps on Sunday, and snaps on Sunday for a guy who's a try-hard guy, but not big enough to go in there and not quick enough to go out there, problematic. It's clear to see what we're doing here with Diggs and with Cheeto for this year. I think it's clear what you're doing with Cheeto next year too, but we'll see. But Dallas's offensive line in shambles all year long. Started with the retirement of Travis Frederick, even the drafting of Biadasz, and even the presence of Joe Looney. I don't know that it's quite come together. I think that was the first blow in a series of tough ones. By the way, Frederick will tell you that he didn't play extremely well last year. And so I think that raised some hopes that, well, we'll put the next guy in there and maybe he can be a little bit better than okay too, which is what Frederick thought he was. And maybe they've been that at center, maybe. But still, the offensive line as a group in shambles. The nagging stuff with Zach, the out for the season with Lyle, the out for the season after a bunch of nagging stuff and serious nagging stuff with Tyron Smith. And so maybe it's time soon, to have Brandon Knight, of these 4 moves, be the one that gets a chance to matter the most. Andy Dalton's long-term future probably is not in Dallas. He wants to go be a starter somewhere. We've talked about Cheeto and what probably will happen with him, and I think there's writing on the wall with Tyrone Crawford. But we don't know what can happen with this offensive line, and we'll know more if Brandon Knight gets a chance to be a part of it. Thank you for sharing and telling your Cowboy Nation friends about what we do here, and thank you for subscribing as well. We are working on valuable prizes that we're just going to kind of give away by throwing a dart at a name on our subscriber list. So get your name on that list and let's go. We'll see you over the course of the day. And then, of course, don't forget, all weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, we're in Minnesota. So be with us there as well. Fish out.